was a hazy morning, but the sun was determined to bust through the clouds as underneath the surf rolled in, both cool and refreshing. And Antigua and Barbuda is marching into the future after having laid the foundation that will put an end to an era of high debt and low growth. The government of Antigua and Barbuda says that 2014 is a year of growth and opportunity, a time when people will feel, in a real way, the decisive break from the past era of unsustainability it had inherited. 2014 is expected to be the third successive year of growth, fueled by major investments in tourism, government's increased activity, and an uptick in the construction sector.
We are now at that stage where our major focus is ensuring that we reap the rewards and the benefits of creating this stable platform.
Many people in many sectors are now singing from the same hymn sheet. The considered view is that the best is yet to come.
So employment is picking up, slowly but surely.
At the end of the day, we have a good positive mindset. Yes, we've been beaten up a little bit because of the harsh times, but I've seen more young people more willing to work.
The economy is in a much better situation today than it was 4 years ago. So enough has been put to establish a solid foundation for it to continue.
In the past 10 years, the government had taken the tough decisions while being sensitive to the needs of ordinary people, and through prudent management and fiscal discipline has laid a foundation for a period of sustainable growth.
And so we say this is a time when we really need to stay the course. We have done the hard work, we've done the necessary work, and it's now time for us to reap the rewards and the benefits of the work that we have done.
For Finance Minister LOVELL and his team, it is not necessarily mission accomplished, but a state of where a lot has been done with more to do.
As one people, we are to be resolute and unafraid to make sacrifices and surmount every difficulty that confronts us. The mountains will be removed, and the vision we have for Antigua and Barbuda and new society will be realized.
By the end of 2013, the major indicators in the economy were heading in the right direction. Overall growth in the economy, the opening of more jobs, more foreign direct investments are coming in, and a reduction in national debt. It is a long way from 2004.
In 2004, we were in a precarious position. We were spending in excess of our revenues. In fact, the gap was a yawning one, and it could not simply be closed because the revenue patterns and the expenditure patterns had sort of cemented themselves. So we had structural issues.
Going back to as far as I can remember, going back to the 90s, I would go as far back as there. Antigua has always had a debt to GDP ratio over 100%. What that means is that the country always had more debt than the entire country was earning.
Before 2004, we had an average overall fiscal deficit of about 9% of GDP. Some of the efforts that were undertaken between 2004 and 2008 resulted in a reduction in the overall fiscal deficit to about 6% of GDP.
What the Baldwin-Spencer government inherited in 2004 was an economic minefield. 2004 was a time and a place when the government was defaulting on its many commitments, whether it was in debt repayments or meeting commitment to public workers. By that time, Antigua and Barbuda was over 2 decades into independence, but the sense of optimism of 1981 had long given way to some pessimism. Reports of poor governance and corruption and hints of political scandal were snapping confidence in the local economy.
What happened between 2004 and 2009? There was an attempt to regain credibility for Antigua and Barbuda, to regain the faith of our development partners, because we had lost that.
By the time Antigua and Barbuda entered its 25th year of independence, foreign direct investment in the economy was down. except for the one significant investment by now disgraced financier Alan Stanford. Stanford's impact on the local economy was huge, and his empire's spectacular collapse was a body blow of historic proportions. Simply put, Antigua was batting on a sticky wicket. The demise could not come at a worse time, almost timed to perfection with the worst world recession in recent memory. That recession affected all countries of the Caribbean. Antigua and Barbuda was not spared. Antigua's economy got into a free fall.
Then 2009 happened, revenues plummeted by about 22%. We had a reduction in growth, and we saw a significant increase in the overall fiscal deficit at about 19.6% of GDP.
The United States and the United Kingdom, those are our two major source markets. We get 70% or more of our visitors from these two source markets. They were at the epicenter of the crisis, and we were very badly affected, and that had to be taken in the context of the crash of the Stanford Empire, where we had approximately 1,500 direct jobs going down the chute in one go, and another 1,000 indirect jobs being affected. In addition to that, British American went under.
The structural problems of the Antigua and Barbuda economy catered to inefficiency, and at the administrative levels, fiscal ill-discipline. This undermined the local economy further, and it called for a period of adjustments.
If you have consistent deficits, large and unsustainable deficits, it means that at some point you're going to have to adjust. And that adjustment is going to require both on the spending side, which will impact your social programs. So your social programs that provide relief to pensioners or that provide stipends for orphans, as is done through the Board of Guardians, or your school meals program or your school uniform program. If you are unable to manage your fiscal resources in a way that is prudent and that ensures that you have sustainability, then all those programs will be affected. On the flip side, for businesses, for investors and so on, if they see an environment where there's fiscal instability, what happens is they cannot plan and make a determination of whether or not an investment in that country is a good idea.
For the Baldwin-Spencer administration, it was clear that internal economic discipline was key to economic growth and sustainability.
Fiscal stability essentially sets a foundation upon which investors and businesses can plan and make their projections, where citizens can expect that the tax system is not going to be changing and shifting so much that is going to impact, and the government can rely on flows that would allow it to meet the needs of the people by providing certain services.
And victory is certain, certain as the sun shines in the sky.
The result has been a significant improvement in our overall fiscal deficit. It's improved from that 19.6% in 2009 to about 1% of GDP in 2012. There were also improvements in revenue administration and a number of tax reforms, in expenditure management as well.
Since we've started on our fiscal consolidation program, the program in 2009 that started, end of 2009 going into 2010, we have now seen our debt move onto a sustainable path and come below that 100% of GDP. So we are now roughly at between 88 and 89% of GDP.
Our government is no longer spending close to 20% of GDP above what it's collecting.
In terms of the absolute amount in numerical terms of debt, in 2004, the debt was $3.2 billion. Of that $3.2 billion, almost half of that was in arrears. We have been able to reduce the debt stock from $3.2 billion. At present, it's at $2.8 billion, and the arrears are minimal.
From the onset, it was clear that restructuring the national debt was also crucial to lay the foundation for sustainability.
All of this now means that the savings will come to the people of Antigua and Barbuda. And instead of that huge interest bill coming down for the people to pay, we've been able to bring that within a sustainable framework so that we can manage our debt going forward.
Antigua and Barbuda stands on the doorsteps of reaping the benefits of decisive leadership, as the years of pain are giving way to a period of gain.
Antigua has done a lot by itself and with the support of a number of donor agencies to put it in a much better position to deal with such shocks into the future.
The number one thing the government has done so far that I like is deal with national debt. And now that they've dealt with national debt, the doors are open now to investors, right? I mean, not crooked investors, but legitimate ones.
We have been able to take the country from an unstable to a stable environment.
If you just put your hand in mine, we're gonna leave all our troubles behind. Gonna walk and don't look back.
Shine bright like a diamond.
And I think that we're poised to coming into a growth period again.
Currently, right now, I believe Antigua has a lot of potential, and being here for about 2 years since university, I've been able to see a lot more sectors opening up.
I know of 3 major projects, I being one. Our company, we plan to build a new project next to a project that we already have, Veranda, which we built 7 years ago, which will be probably about a $40 million US investment.
For me right now, it's more about opportunity. Drive, determination, the ability to work hard. That's what it's going to take to be successful right now. Just hunger.
Among the major projects due to start in the new year is the Azure Bay project on the other side of 5 islands. The developers are expected to spend about $700 million in the next 5 years.
It's what I call a resort residential project that includes at least 1 hotel, a marina, at least 1 golf course. It's going to be an 18-hole golf course that Jack Nicklaus is going to design. There will be a commercial center and a variety of types of housing. The name of this property since forever has been called Seaforth, S-E-A-F-O-R-T-H, and I decided that Seaforth wasn't a very sexy name.
Yeah.
So one day I was out here and there were no clouds at all. And so the color of the sky and the bay were almost the same. And so I said, well, let's call it Azure Bay. And so then I went back and looked up what the word azure means, and it means the color of the sky on a cloudless day.
Oh, yeah.
So, and the name made a lot of sense then. Well, I think it's immense. I mean, just to start a project like this, being built on 550 acres, that's very, very high end, is going to employ a tremendous number of people just during the construction phase, building what I call phase 1, and then ongoing, creating many, many types of jobs. But it's going to have an immense impact on the economy in terms of the amount of money that it brings into the island, both directly and indirectly through people who buy property here and then build their own house, build their own business. Again, this site above it is all part of the hotel site, so there are going to be all kinds of beautiful views. I would say phase 1, just to be realistic, has got to be somewhere between $500 and $700 million US. It's immensely expensive to do something like this and do it right.
Another exciting example of what's to come is the high-scale residential area being developed at Parents Point by Dutch investors Albert Hartog and Ben de Jong. They are set to spend more than $250 million US in the next 4 to 8 years.
It should be a very high-end place. It should give ultra luxury, ultra comfort, and it should be a green project. At the moment, the project entails that we are having 73 plots to build on. We've got a hotel site for 80 key to 120 rooms, and we will build 80 villas, which is called a reserve.
There are many such developments on the horizon, especially in real estate and tourism, retail and the general service sector, in agriculture and the ICT sector, and also in housing.
In July of last year, Bow Panel Systems, together with the government of Antigua, through the vehicle of CHAPA, which is Central Housing and Planning Authority, engaged them, agreed to a joint venture. The Bow would provide the infrastructural development and the construction, the funds for constructing the homes, and CHAPA would provide the land.
The Bow Panel System housing will do many things: help build high-quality house for Antigua and Barbuda, generate jobs and opportunities, and enable the transfer of technology.
That company, which will be involved with the development of the homes, is now called CHAPA Bow, in which the CHAPA owns 32% and Bow owns 68%. I'm a director of that company. Also, as part of the deal is a second company called Bow Panel Systems Antigua Limited. That's a manufacturing company, will be based up at Crabs. And the aim of that company is to manufacture the foam right here in the Caribbean. The manufactured products will be shipped across the Caribbean and onto markets in South America.
We think in 21 days we can erect on the